A pragmatic U.S. Marine observes the dehumanizing effects the Vietnam War has on his fellow recruits, from their brutal boot camp training to the bloody street fighting in Hue. This is Movie Time Machine.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what the theme song is now, would you?
No. I've never listened to this.
All right, and welcome to Movie Time Machine, where each week we take a movie from the past and relive it in the present. This week's movie, Full Metal Jacket, directed by Stanley Kubrick, released in the year 1987, starring Matthew Modine, Vincent D'Onofrio, and R. Lee Ermy. This is your Time Machine host, Chad. Before we get into our movie discussion, though, I want to go around the table, let's do some introductions, and let everyone know what we've been watching.
Hey, this is Jamie, and I've been inspired by Full Metal Jacket to dive into further military history, so I haven't watched anything yet, but I've got World War II in color queued up on Netflix. I'll start there and then move into Band of Brothers, which I still have not seen.
Me either. I heard it's great.
Me too.
Casey here. Haven't been really watching anything of note lately.
Hey, this is Chris. I have just started Barry, which I'm 2 episodes in, and I'm really enjoying it. I heard that it's great, and yeah, we'll see. I like Bill Hader.
Well, that's all right. Cool. You have to let me know.
Yeah, two episodes in so far.
I watched the first episode on a plane. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a unique, it's an interesting premise, and I think they do it well so far.
All right, sounds good. Well, this is your host, Chad, and I've been watching The Outsider on HBO, so I think there's only a few episodes left, so really liking that now, but I'm seeing that it's a few episodes longer than I thought it was, and it's kind of disappointing because it seems like they're kind of stretching out the story, but I'm just kind of curious how this is going to end, but I like this so far.
Did you finish The Watchmen?
Yeah, it's one of the best seasons of TV I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's probably in my top 5. And it's only one season. They're not doing another one. So
Can we also
that was
just...
it.
Yep.
Can we just briefly have a conversation? Maybe this is just going to be you and I, or maybe everybody else, but I am so excited about the announcement that The Last of Us is going to be an HBO series done by the Chernobyl guy.
All right, I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah,
I cannot wait. And I think that there's already conversations around who should play the characters, and they're talking about what is the Lannister,
Which one?
is it? Well, that's what I'm trying to think. Is it
The
Tyrion?
old man? Tyrion? Tyrion's the
guy,
the short guy.
the older
who
brother.
Who loses the hand?
Jamie.
Jamie
Lannister.
Lannister is one. They're talking about Hugh Jackman.
no, Hugh Jackman. That'll ruin
Only
it.
if he sings.
Yeah.
That would
something
ruin it.
like this. You cannot put put a star like that.
I
in it.
actually think that the Jamie Lannister, I don't know.
That would be good.
I don't know his name, but they've done some side by sides to the game, and he looks so much like him.
Yeah, and it looks like Neil Druckmann's going to be.
Yeah, he's going to be helping
so,
write this, actually write.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be good.
Is this the one where they take Ellen Page's likeness?
Yeah.
Yes,
Would that be
it
weird
was.
if it was not her?
No, I don't want it to be Ellen Page.
No.
She's too old now.
Yeah, she's not.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, the one person that they've been saying, they actually said a couple, so they said that
It's
that
essentially
Maisie,
The Road with
Zombies.
zombies, but
Yeah.
they're not zombies.
Yep.
Which I feel like Druckmann stole my idea though for The Last of Us because
You had this before him?
Yeah, I have a Facebook post on it from 2010 because there's Planet Earth, that Planet Earth series. There's a part in there where it talks about the cordyceps fungus.
Okay.
That's what's in The Last of Us that creates the mushroom heads and makes these zombie characters where it invades it's invading ants, and it kind of is controlling the ants. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool if they made a movie about this where it spread to humans.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Pandemic. 28 days later.
Where's my credits? Where's my credits?
They stole my idea that I gave to Halo for the flood. That's what we're working with here.
Don't worry, guys. I will go on Wikipedia and edit those things for you and put your names on them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I just have to say, I'm super excited. I can't wait. I'll be really curious to see where it goes. I wasn't super excited by The Witcher. I didn't think they did a super great job with it. But I don't know. I'm hopeful. I've heard Sonic is decent too. So.
Yeah, it says every video game review of a video game or a review of a video game movie. Oh, it's decent. Okay, we're gonna go on a tangent. So like video game movies always get like
we'll edit this out.
Like it's like, yeah, it's okay. But if it wasn't a video game movie, you'd be like, oh, it's total garbage.
Yeah.
Like the Tomb Raider movie. Come on.
Tomb Raider was terrible, and I was really bummed out because I really like Alicia Vikander.
Yeah.
Like I wanted that to be so good because the game was so good. Why can't they? Like, what is the missing sauce? What can't they figure out?
Playing it is the missing sauce.
I don't know. I don't think so.
The interaction with the media is so good.
You don't need video game movies though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I actually don't, because I think like one of the games that I absolutely loved was the Last of Us, and I think they could, like, that story is so compelling.
Yeah.
Like,
it's The Road,
what they
essentially.
make. Well, and I was gonna say another one is like,
I just said that, didn't I? Right.
You did. Zero Horizon Dawn is another game that I thought the story, the world that they create is so compelling. I would love to see like that become more.
So what I think you're more into is the universe that they're creating.
For sure, and that's why I was really excited by The Witcher too, because I thought like the lore and everything that was was so incredible and it's so amazing.
It'd be better if they told a story within that world that was built versus following the same characters that.
Sure, 1,000% agree.
The game.
Yeah. I could get behind that.
Yeah.
But I still think like that. Those are video game movies because that's the platform that it was created on.
Right.
I ride pretty hard for Resident Evil, just as a horror fan.
Do you like them?
I do. I really do.
The movies or the games?
Resident Evil.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the games. Or I'm sorry, the movies. I thought you were talking
There
about.
was a scene, I don't know which movie it was. I know it was Resident Evil.
Where
where
she
like
shoots the floor? Is it the one where
on
she's
the bike?
Oh no, there's one where she like shoots
Yes,
the floor.
the bike. Yes.
It's like she's on a bike, and I think one of the liquor things is in they're in a church, and she jumps on the bike and flings the bike at that.
Oh, I think that's
liquor thing
Apocalypse.
and shoots it with the guns. And
Yep.
No.
It's perfect.
No, it's so.
Yeah, no. I was thinking she
great.
did one. She did one where she shot the floor. She must have been
Like
like
shoot
on
through
an
the
upper
floor?
an upper level, and she's shooting around her so that she can like fall
through the
floor with the piece that she's shot, and it's just so.
Did she have like two guns? Like
Yeah,
twirl around
exactly.
in
Yep.
circles?
Duh.
Yeah.
It looked
I think it
terrible.
was the first Resident Evil movie. They had a scene where they were in this weird security corridor,
Yeah.
and like a laser thing cut a dude's like face off.
Yes.
That I remember that. That was really sweet.
Oh, I can't wait! You all are so fooled. You thought we were gonna do Full Metal Jacket, but
Right.
really, it's 1 through
Video game
7
movies.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Can I also just say,
You've been punked.
why has nobody? I feel like one of you two are choosing like Wes Anderson, but I was absolutely thinking like, why did nobody choose like a really like bizarre director like Larry Clark? Like nobody picked this like super.
I was really close to picking M. Night
Or like-
Shyamalan just to
Really?
fight
Yeah.
over whether or
Like,
not they were
I feel
good.
like we need someone to just pick that fucking weird one.
Yeah. It's been kind of fun though, taking these bigger
Oh, for sure.
names to kind of explore them, and
I'm excited. Like Fincher, I'm really excited for.
Yeah.
And the only reason,
I'm not as much, but
really,
What?
Why?
yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe my mind will be changed.
It's the whole point.
Actually, well, whatever.
Yeah.
This is the Kubrick podcast about Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, let's get back. Do we need to start from the beginning?
So should the podcast be two distinct episodes since the movie is clearly like two movies?
Oh,
back
that's
to
a
Part
great-
1 and part 2.
That's a great
Right,
call.
that's that. Yeah, I like that.
So part one of the
Part
podcast.
one of the podcast. Full Metal Jacket opening scene. Was it goodbye or hello, goodbye? I'm going to Vietnam or whatever, and everyone's getting their head shaved.
That was
I
such a
just
good
love
start.
how that just
Yes.
starts out. It's just like we don't even know who these people are. We
Yeah.
don't even know like how big a role they're going to play in this film, and I just like how we go from this into the boot camp. We don't know their background, and that's how it started. Just kind of they lose their identity.
Well, and right away too. I mean, the hair looks like bodies on the floor.
Yeah.
It's right away. It's like, oh, this is Vietnam. Okay, I know exactly what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
It's funny you say that too, that they're all kind of nameless, faceless. We don't know who these people are because that I thought was such a compelling part, like where you don't know who is the main protagonist of this film. You don't know halfway through, and even I guess once the switch happens and you continue following Joker, I guess at that point you're kind of seeing who it is. But even his character, from being the bald-headed recruit to when they actually start showing his personality a bit more in the second half. Even that was kind of a striking difference because, they are just hairless, nobody's being thrown into boot camp and being molded into these soldiers.
Right. And we only know them by like their nicknames that they're given.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, Chris, I think earlier you said that this is your favorite Kubrick film.
It was, and something that I was just looking up when y'all were chatting was this movie came out in 1987, the same year that Good Morning Vietnam came out, which is really interesting because both of these movies, well, I know Good Morning Vietnam did really well.
I like that movie.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
It did really, really well, and I think it's interesting that you would have two. They're not similar in the sense of the way that the story lays out, but they're similar in the sense like they're both war movies, both
Vietnam films.
Yeah, Vietnam films.
There's also Hamburger Hill came out that same year too.
Yeah, and I was going to say like
Illinois Hill or Hotel Illinois, I think.
Yeah,
same year.
And they have really like heavy moments in them as well.
Yeah, which
is I don't know, it's interesting. But yes, this is my very favorite Kubrick film. I just think this has some of the most, I don't know, they have characters that you like. They have characters that are a little bit more developed. They have a little bit more, I just felt like a little bit more straightforward of a storyline, an arc than some of the others that we've seen. And I thought it was really well done. I thought the acting was really good. I thought Vincent D'Onofrio was great. Joker's character was great. What is the sergeant? It's Lee something.
Arlie Ermy.
Yeah. Was
Sergeant Hartman.
Yeah. It was really, really good. And I just this movie kept me engaged and enthralled the whole time.
Well, and you made the comment when we were talking about The Shining that Kubrick seems to have this fascination with people changing or becoming worse, or what was that point you were making that they were?
I think he has this fascination with transformation.
Yeah,
is I think.
And I think
articulated it.
And I think it's easy to point at obviously Gomer and his transformation in the first act, but I think the more subtle one and even scarier is Joker's transformation in the second act, because he starts as this goofy-go-lucky reporter who at first when Rafterman, when they were walking around, he was saying, let's go to the shit. He was like, we can't go to the shit. Your mom will kill me. So when you first meet him there, he doesn't want to go anywhere. But then fast forward to the end of the movie, not only is he the one that takes that shot to put the other soldier out of her misery.
Sniper, yeah.
Rewind a little bit before that, before Cowboy even, when they were going to pull out after the two guys had died, and Cowboy was taking some people to move up, and he was like, we're coming too. So he goes from this guy who wasn't going to even let him and Rafterman go to the shit, where now the two guys just got sniped up in front of him. He's like, hell yeah, let's go fight. Well, I think see his transformation there too.
But Joker, his character in the second part, he was interested in getting into the shit from the get-go. He was talking about when they were around the table doing the interview or doing the kind of debrief of the stories. Mm-hmm. He was talking constantly about wanting to get into that and have more of these stories that maybe weren't as feel good and those kind of things. And I feel like the transformation that we saw was the story being told was the dichotomy of Rafterman and Joker. And Joker was always the one who was feigning this strength of I'm a soldier. I want to get into it. I know that I can kill. I know that I can do all these things. And is it Rafterman? What is it?
He's the photographer's Rafterman.
Yeah. Rafter? Okay. Rafter. Just want to make sure I'm saying it right. Raptor or
Rafter?
Rafter. Yeah,
rafters?
On a raft.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, on a raft too.
That works.
Rafterman.
Is that what if you see someone floating on a raft, are they a rafter?
No, I just
that would be a person rafting would be a rafter.
Rafter.
Yeah, I guess that's correct.
Nonetheless, so I think the interest here in that transformation is the dichotomy of Joker becoming is feigning this strength and wanting to really show that he's a warrior and can do all these things and is very confident, and Rafterman's not. And then go to the scene where the sniper is being has been wounded and is slowly dying, and Joker can't actually stomach the idea of shooting this person, putting her out of her misery, and Rafterman ends up doing it like that.
No, I think you got it switched.
No, Joker doesn't do it.
Do what?
Doesn't shoot the... No,
I
Joker...
think it's implied.
He puts her down.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
No, Joker...
Rafterman comes
Rafterman
in,
saves him from dying.
His gun locks up.
No. But then after when
she's down
and she's dying,
he takes
Joker does.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I thought
Joker does.
I think there's a line like, that's some ice cold shit, Joker, or something like that.
Yeah.
He said, after he does it, one of the other dudes like gives him props for it.
Oh. Why did I have it? I had it the other way around. I had it that Joker. I thought Joker was the one who's saying that we can't leave her like this.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
But I thought he couldn't stomach. Actually, I have it in my head that he couldn't stomach shooting her, and so then one of the other people do.
No,
Maybe
the camera sits on him for a while, and you see him kind of start grimacing.
Yeah,
and then you hear the shot. So like he's sitting there like pointing the gun at her and fighting it for a while, and then he makes like a pretty ugly, about to cry grimace face, shoots her, and then. Okay. That's some cold shit.
So do you think that's the moment, though, where Joker actually, like, that is hard for him to still do that, though? Because when his gun locks, like, because the sniper's coming after him, and his gun locks, he throws it down and he grabs his handgun, and he can't get the shot off, and that's when Rafterman comes in. It's almost like he
never even makes a move back around the pillar. He just is like
he kind of
struggling and freaking out. Yeah.
Or Rafterman, who's the guy you kind of are thinking throughout this film is like, this isn't for him. Because earlier in the film, when they're flying in the helicopter with the guy,
he was about to puke. Yeah,
he is puking in the helicopter. So
permission not to bring Rafterman, sir.
Yeah.
But no, you were asking, and I think he does have a interest or is fascinated with the idea of transformation and like the change that exists. I think, Gomer Pyle is a very easy one to make note of. So
speaking of him, where do you think it was specifically the soap? Like that's the incident that made him go crazy?
Yes.
And then he isolated himself, started talking to his gun. That was like the snapping moment.
And I think too was the very last person to hit him was Joker, who was supposed to be his mentor and his confidant, his friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think like that was like, all right, like not only like maybe he could handle the fact that like the other, individuals didn't like him, but I think the fact that like the one that like he's confided in, who's been a big help for him, who he's created a relationship with, turned his back on him, I think was the big part.
Yeah, it was hard to kind of honestly watching that, and I don't know if it's just I'm more of a softie, but to see the like abuse that he got was kind of hard to stomach. It was a little uncomfortable in some of those moments, like the slapping, like as he's trying to answer. Just a lot of it.
Yeah.
But then you lose a little bit of that sympathy. The donut scene, you almost lose sympathy. It's like, you fucking idiot. Come on. Like,
right.
I get it that you're out of shape and the running, whatever. Like, people will forgive you for that. But when you,
and like
he's
the
deliberately
the thumb and it's just like demoralizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like the donuts, like that. So they make you sympathize, but then it's like, no, you keep making decisions to F up. So it's almost like you are okay with it for a little bit longer, and then I think you sympathize again after he gets the crap kicked out of him with the bars of soap. I
struggle with like, I feel like what they try to depict is that he has some form of like mental deficiency.
Yeah, I think so.
And if that is the case, the thing that I'm struggling to be able to understand or to really grasp in it though is like you have to do some sort of like entrance. Like
it's Vietnam, these all
coming so you think so? Are all these people being drafted then?
Yeah.
Okay, so at that
if
point,
you're an able-bodied man,
it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think they're actually being drafted into the Marines though? Like the Marines is actually pretty hardcore versus standard.
That's a good question, and I do know that in peacetime, it's way more difficult to enlist as a Marine than times of active war, but. Yeah, I would wonder too. Screening for the Marines versus just General Army. I don't know.
I mean, for being a big boy, he was like he could have probably been like a football lineman or something. So they're probably like, we'll take the big body dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think what's important to call out too, like you said, Chris, the mental disability, and in case you said madness, that's it. It helps me understand anyway why he does what he does, because at that moment, if that's your life, you're I don't know his rank, so just all apologies for rank misuse throughout this military episode. But that's why he goes after his sergeant, because you're the threat. Like you're. Mm-hmm. How many times can you kick a dog before it bites you? Mm-hmm. So in that warped way, he is acting in self-defense.
Yeah. In the book, after he kills or shoots Hartman, right before Hartman dies, or whatever that same character's name in the book, says to Pyle, like, "I'm proud of you."
No shit.
That's heavy.
That's dark.
Yeah. So the idea is like, okay, you are sympathizing for them, but at the same time, like the whole point of having them there in boot camp is like they are like kind of erasing who they were before they came there, and they are making them killing machines. Like it doesn't matter like how you feel. Like we're gonna train you to fucking kill. Like that's the whole mantra.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say one thing I liked about that too is like. He finally started having a little bit of success. Like, I think he was talking about, like, when they were doing some of, like, the shooting targets and ranges. Like, he was doing really good.
So, like, you're a good shot.
Yeah, finally figured out something that you're good at or whatever. But one of the things that I really appreciated about that kind of, like, the way that the story was told with him was when after he got Joker as his mentor, you actually saw a little bit of an uptick in performance. And you're like, oh, of course, right? Like, it's going to be like every other movie trope where he gets this person, he teaches him how to do it, and now he's good and whatever, I don't know. Yeah, right? Like,
they make it to war together.
And then he's fine. And
they go back home and they start a
montage, But, like, he did have that uptick, and then it immediately went back. And he started doing poorly again, and that was not something that I was anticipating or expecting in my like very first view of this, which I really appreciated. Like, it bucked the norm, and I thought that was a really, really interesting, just because it was so different. I mean, you weren't expecting it, and again, then it just continues to tell that story, and like that's then what creates additional tension between he and Joker and the rest of the group.
Well, and similarly too, I think I mentioned this in our chat, but where Kubrick flips the script as he does with so many movies. I just think of some of my favorite war military films like Saving Private Ryan, Platoon. I know there's others, The Hurt Locker. There's an air of patriotism in all of them, even though like war is FUBAR. It still brings out the little bit of, oh, I see what they're doing. It's right, or for the USA, even just a little bit. This is the first one where I watch. I'm like, this sucks. Like, it's like an anti-recruitment video. It's like, no, this is actually what Vietnam is. Like, this really, really sucks. You don't want any part of this.
And the whole like boot camp recruitment part. I've watched some videos of, I think it was like Marines today, watching this movie, and like just a lot of Marines in general, or maybe just military in general that have watched this movie said like this is, I think it's changed, but like this is like how it was, like the drill sergeant like in your face and just like kicking your ass, and just kind of how you are trained. Like this is the most realistic film that kind of shows you how everything used to be. Again, I think they dialed some of that back, but it's a pretty accurate portrayal of how to make a killing machine.
I couldn't hack it.
No, fuck no.
Mm-mm. I struggle with authority, and like someone yelling at me and telling me what to do would.
You would be the smirking Gomer.
Yeah, I hate it when people tell me what to do, even though it's probably the right thing to do.
100%. Like, I am wrong at least half the time. Like, I know it. Like, it's just, I'm stubborn, and
Wait, do you hate being told what to do so much that even when someone tells you to have a nice day, you're like, don't tell me what to do.
Fuck you.
You have a good one? Day. No, I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually not a big war movie person, but kind of like with The Shining, I'm not a horror person either, but this did it in a unique way. And I think you were making a point earlier off the mic, too, and I said save it for the pod. The lines, Kubrick's lines and angles and focal points, and how watching this between other war movies was kind of interesting because it's so much different than other war movies because it's Kubrick. But what I was going to say is there were a few moments where it would be very Kubrick-esque and be flowing wrong, but then the shit would happen, or they'd be in fighting, and then it would get down to like gorilla cam, and you're running with them. So it was really that actually like caught me off guard a little bit when those transitions would kind of abruptly go from normal smooth pans to boom, now we're running with the action because we're in the middle of a fight scene. I thought that was a really good way to kind of up the tension.
Yeah, he does have really cool scenes though that he shoots in this movie where I think it's right before where they're doing the interviews, where it's like all the soldiers are down behind like a wall. Then there's like people that are carrying like
the cameraman people, yeah.
There's like people carrying stretchers by. Then there's the cameraman part. So you kind of have three different things kind of moving at the same time as like the camera's moving across the screen. Well, that's what
was that almost like masturbation? Like here I am making a movie about people making a movie about my movie.
Totally. And I guess the sound guy that's in that shot was like the actual sound guy.
And I love that they flip the camera and they just show the camera person. So it's like you're watching a movie of the people who are making a movie.
Yeah.
Just put the mirror on you, viewer.
So how old were you the first time you watched this?
3.
Well, we got to talk to your parents. Because like reason why I asked is like I think about like the first time I watched this, I was too young to like grasp a lot of this shit in this, and like so it's been really I think a lot of fun to go back.
Yeah,
because even from the last time I watched this was probably it's years ago. It's probably I picked it up when it first came out on Blu-ray, so it's probably like 10 years ago. But it just like even now from then, just like the other stuff of being able to pick on it and just how much is in this movie. Like I just think everyone should watch this movie because it's a war movie, but it's not specifically about a war. You know, like you don't really. There's not a whole lot about Vietnam. It's not, or I guess it's not.
Well, it's not
Vietnam.
like Dunkirk, right? Where it's like it's about like a specific battle,
event, right?
Or
this is about these people that you're following.
It's more. It's more. The story is more about them than it is the actual war that's going on.
Right.
I think the first time I saw this movie, I had just finished high school, so 18 or 19. Okay. But I think like you, I didn't appreciate it, or I didn't know how to appreciate it. I would say,
but you liked it, but you didn't.
I really liked it. Like I thought it was just, I thought it was a really engaging story even then. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is. At that point, like seeing
there's something like, different about this.
Yeah. And I'd never seen the idea of like where you're watching like a part 1 and a part 2. Like that's how this movie felt to me.
Yeah.
Is very, very different in that they were kind of separate stories. But yeah, I was way too young to really understand and like pick up on a lot of stuff either. And now too, like we were talking about this for The Shining, but similarly, like there are a lot of things in this movie that I picked up on that have become a part of the normal vernacular zeitgeist, like Gomer Pyle, and I never knew where that came from. And that was just really a fun experience too, watching it now and like having a little bit more of like that understanding. But
well, Gomer Pyle
is that
a show from like the 60s.
Oh, so that's not okay.
Then about kind of like this doofy like army dude. Which that's why
is that like was it MASH or it was the show was actually
it was called like Gomer Pyle.
Oh, it was?
I don't know. But.
So speaking of pop culture references, is this where what was that Rex and Effects song? "Oh, Me So Horny"? Is this where that came from, or is that just
actually,
legit?
That's the other thing I was going to say too. Is like
Two Live Crew.
Yeah, that's Two Live Crew.
And that was like sparked the whole like a huge censorship debates in the early '90s. And
is that where they got it? It was after this came out. They're like, oh, let's watch Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, because that was the same thing. Like I heard that and I was like, oh, that's really because that was like one of like the first scenes in like the second part was like him trying to like barter.
Me,
no one wants to say it. No one's gonna get it out.
So horny.
Yeah.
I mean, just the early '90s, the Two Live Crew stuff.
So when I was
that's why we have the explicit lyrics or whatever.
Because of Two Live Crew.
Two Live Crew, yeah.
Thanks, Two Live Crew.
So horny.
I watched this when I was in high school, and I distinctly remember almost just throwing away my thoughts and opinion on the second half. To me, it was just the first half was the film. It wasn't until like subsequent rewatches where I appreciated what was really happening at the end too. But it was always two films in my head, and the first part was what I liked.
Because like the beats of that first half at boot camp is just like boom, 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 and we're like everything else after that. I think it progresses a little bit.
The chaos of war versus the preparation of war.
So like the storyline of the soldiers is slower. Yeah,
I felt like he being Kubrick also tried to push the idea of like routine, like how many times we saw them running and like singing the same tune but with different lyrics, and like how many times did we see him, you know, having to do their like nighttime evening routines, and like that was to me a big part of the boot camp was like just finding like getting into that routine and being able to like find some of that monotony, and then you get into war and you don't have like everything is chaotic.
Yeah, and it's a nice trick at the end too, where after boot camp we go to war, and then you see just the awful stuff. Like, how can you kill women and children? Easy. You just don't lead them as much. You know, you get that guy in the chopper.
Yes.
You get the guys at camp where he meets Cowboy. But then, you know, they get to the bottleneck with the sniper, and he shows you the sniper, so you know what's going on. So when they're trying to debate, you know, should they attack or retreat, and the guys just keep getting picked off, you're like, oh God, you know, like, you guys...
It's a trap.
Figure it out. Yeah,
I was going to say, I
love
love
that
war
too. Creeps in, and
it's a trap. Like, I've seen this before, and nobody like wants to. Yeah, nobody wants to listen to it.
Some animal mother's like, it's just a fucking sniper. Like, we got to go. Save.
8 Ball.
Well,
and then after they kill Cowboy, he's like, let's go get some revenge, and everyone's like, all right, let's go.
Let's do this.
I did really like to, as that second like part started, where there's again this kind of contrast between what they do as journalists, and like we don't have to get in the shit, we don't have to get into the real, like, you know, blood and guts and all that, and we can just, you know, write about it from afar, versus like, no, we want to, and then like you get to see what that's really like being on the front lines and being in that, and that those just felt like two very different experiences and like important moments.
Yeah, there's some good scenes I like when we start getting that crossover. Is when Joker and Raptor Man go to that whatever platoon group, or we meet like animal other guys, but where the one guy's sitting there and there's like the dead guy with his hat on. He's like, here, take a photo of me and my friend. It's his birthday. It's just like so
super
like
weird and twisted.
Yeah, it's just,
I'm gonna say
war as hell. I was just so thrown off by that. Like, why would you as a cameraman like be like, yeah, all right, I don't know that. I don't know. That was a bizarre. Like,
it's good. Well, that's,
why would Rafter go along with it?
I just think that is a part of what happened during that war, though.
Well, I'm sure it is. I mean, it happened in Guantanamo too. Like, there's
not as
all
bad
those
as Vietnam, but
no, but I'm just saying, like, where people are like taking
I
pictures inappropriately where they shouldn't be.
Right,
like, why is he taking that picture?
Right.
Why do you just say?
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like that's what I believe that stuff happens.
Gotcha.
The thing that I'm struggling with is why do you document it?
Right.
It's the same.
Hold
reason.
on, everything you just said, you could cut out of context, and you could say it about everything on Facebook.
I was just gonna say that.
Why do we have to talk about it?
What's your favorite sergeant?
Pile or Partman line?
Yeah.
I think it's the right. I won't go first this time.
I just like, you can't say steers and queers anymore, but that's pretty cutting.
From Texas.
Yeah. You can't say that anymore. I just did. I'm sorry.
You'll be getting hate mail.
Probably. Right.
You're about to be canceled.
Right.
We're going to cancel you.
I've always just loved the how tall are you? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't know they stacked piles of shit that high. That has always been my favorite line.
Followed closely by you eat pieces of shit for breakfast.
It's close second. Shooter McGavin.
I like the it's pretty where he's like, I think it's all in one where he's like, do you suck dick? Would you fuck a man in the ass and not even have the common courtesy to give him a reach around? The great thing about that though is Ermy like ad-libbed all that shit. Just like on the spot.
That's incredible.
And he was like, I was getting kind of upset, or somebody was saying Arlie Ermy was getting upset because he would just say that stuff on the cuff. Then like Kubrick would be like writing this stuff down, then want him to like just recite his lines again. He's like, you gotta say that again. You gotta do that again. But yeah, it's like that, and like all like the songs and everything. Vincent D'Onofrio was saying that he gained like 80 pounds for that character.
Wow.
Ouch.
And then like he's like by the end of it, he's like, I was starting to get pretty fit again. But he said Arlie Ermy like did all that, like the marches and like the gun shit twirling around. He's like they sound like they essentially were like going through boot camp themselves.
Wow.
Which is, again, it's like I feel like this is like stuff that can't happen anymore because of like actors unions and
right.
But like Kubrick did it because again he's like a slave to.
I don't know. Leo fought that bear for that Oscar. Just saying.
Was it the bear from The Shining?
Maybe.
Yep.
With his butt flapped down. It's like weak point, you know. It's like a boss battle.
Lord.
I do like what is this Mickey Mouse shit? Just because I feel like that's something that old people say, like they have context,
yes,
and,
right?
Like, but I have no idea what that means.
I do want to just talk about how good I thought D'Onofrio was in this movie.
Yeah, he's pretty.
I just thought
spectacular.
He played his character so good. In the wry smile at the beginning that he can't like get the shit-eating grin off. He like all of his like kind of blank stares and like there were multiple times where I was struggling to understand, is he slow or is he just like being like dumb or like purposefully challenging, obtuse, you know? And I thought he did such a great job with it, minus the last like where he like shoots people. I don't know, that seemed a little bit like, I don't know. His moments where he's like just looking so crazy is like, ooh boy, it felt a little put on.
The bathroom scene where he's like a rabid dog, trapped in the corner, kind of.
That one just felt a little bit put on, but
a little bit over the top, maybe more than
But I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that scene.
Oh yeah,
like upon rewatching this again.
Had any of you ever heard of the term head being the bathroom before?
No.
I'd never heard that.
Make it clean enough to the Virgin Mary would take a shit on it. Right?
I really did like the interplay between Joker and Sergeant Hartman, where he like basically tells him that he doesn't believe in God or Jesus. He's not religious. And like his, I don't know, that kind of like back and forth, and him finally being like, all right, like I respect somebody who can stand up even if they're stupid.
And then he calls Snowball over and he's like, you're fired, get the fuck out of here. I love it. I love how he dismisses him so flippantly. For the record, I think I could probably climb up and over that ladder thing, not quickly, but I could get up and over it.
I don't know if I could.
Not quickly.
Are
you afraid of heights? See, I am too, but I think it's a big ladder. Just hold on.
I think I could do it.
But it's a big ladder.
It's true. It's a big ladder.
I think I climb up and over, but I could absolutely not do a pull-up.
Yeah, I've never done
I think I can do one pull-up. I used to not be able to.
be able to do some, but not now.
Did you guys have just like in phys ed,
obesity? Yeah, I had that.
President Fitness Award.
There we go. Yeah,
Presidential Fitness Award.
Yeah, I had to hang from the bar because I couldn't do it.
Oh, dude, they wouldn't let me. We got to try a pull-up and we failed. And then,
you get that.
Yeah, gosh.
Theater of the mind again.
So what you missed was Chad sat back in his chair and emulated doing a pull-up.
So I like when he did this for The Shining. So you asked everyone, what would you give this as like a rating? So like you're 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 12 out of 13.
Are you thinking like, do we want to save that for the whole movie? Or are you thinking you want to do it part, like what would you give 5 out of 5 on part 1 in part 2?
I don't think you can rate them separately because I think it's important
Yeah. So should we save that till, or are we done?
I don't know.
No, he's just saying holistically.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to do that now, or do you want to wait till we talk about?
We can wait.
Part 2.
Right. I mean, the more you want to talk about part 1.
I don't think so.
No.
I did think, and obviously I knew because I'd seen it, but it does appear that he might shoot Joker too. Like he you know what I'm saying? Like after he shoots what's his face, he's got the gun up. For a second, it's almost as though he's gonna shoot him too. But then obviously he doesn't.
But was that part of the? Was that just the slow mo?
Maybe.
Okay.
No. When he's standing there and he's like, "Cool down, man."
Yeah. Oh, got it.
Like you don't know if he's gonna also just kill everyone or what, and then he sits down and.
Which he should have shot Joker once for like the soap incident. Just once, like
just
not like just like
like shoot his
I mean just something.
Tag him.
He had it coming.
It could be no. Actually, think about it. It could be the right thing to do. You shoot him in the foot. He doesn't get sent out to Vietnam.
That's right.
Yeah,
but maybe he wants him to be in the world of shit.
Oh,
you just made me think of something though, Casey. So you said it was graphic, and you're absolutely right. Way more graphic than anything that happens in The Shining. So why do we give these films like a horror classification when everything that happens in Full Metal Jacket is way more horrifying than anything that takes place in The Shining? I think that's right.
Element of it?
Yeah. It's a weird
I
thing.
think it's what the purpose, like what the purpose of it is, because I think if the purpose is to scare, then it's horror. If the purpose is to show like the brutality of war, then it's not.
Right.
So I think it's like whatever the intent is.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's just weird ways that we
probably
assign
am.
these. Yeah. Damn it.
One thing, let's go into the second part, and one thing that I want to talk about is just how much I enjoyed Joker's character in the second part, because he just becomes a smartass.
Yep.
And has a quip for everything, and I really feel like they are trying to push a couple things. Like I think they're trying to push like that he's like got a good like moral compass. I think they're trying to push that in some of those conversations where they're kind of going through like the stories that they've written and some of his challenges with the authority and like writing, the feel good pieces. I think they said they have 2 endings and he wasn't kind of abiding by either of them. And then I also think like they're trying to push just his intelligence in general as well, and kind of like that he's a deep thinker. Again, being a journalist, and then I think he said that he wrote for his paper. And again, one of the scenes I want to talk about is when they found the mass grave, and the kind of the back and forth between the, I don't know again if he's a sergeant or commander or whatever, but where he talks about the peace pin and then the Born to Kill helmet that he has and what that was. And he, first asked him, do you think that's funny, or what is this about? And he goes, no, I don't think it's funny. All right, then what is it about? And he just doesn't really
says,
respond.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. And then he gets pushed on it and he says, well, it's supposed to, I think I'm trying to talk a little bit about the duality of man. And I think for me, that is a really interesting thing, because again, I think it comes in a couple times thematically within the movie as well. When you look at some of the pieces with Gomer being again like both struggling but also at times like exceeding expectations with like the rifle piece, but I think some of that stuff too when we were talking about like towards the end with the sniper and how people are sometimes able to act outside of their norm. The idea of like the duality being like having the opportunity to do things that maybe you wouldn't otherwise do, or that are maybe heroic. And we were talking a little bit about like Rafter and like his behavior that was unexpected.
Yeah, and it's something too that the more society advances, like the further we get away from it, like 500,000 years ago, it's way more brutal. Just, we have swords. We didn't have sharp sticks, but trying to take land from each other. But one of the things I thought of specifically with Joker as the writer, one of my favorite, I read a little bit of poetry. I'm not like that much of a snob, but there's
nerd,
right? There's this volume though of World War I poetry, and that's kind of what I go back to and what I think of is, you know, these guys, soldiers on the front, they're kids, just not just like Vietnam, different conflict, but whatever. But yeah, they're creating these poems that are so beautiful and killing guys tomorrow, you know, but they wouldn't be able to write that had they not done what they did. Yeah. So it's a weird thing that happens.
Wait, so are you saying that if I want to be a really good poet, I have to start just
kill some bugs.
murder people?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the secret?
That's the secret sauce. Or
knew it.
Drink a lot. Yeah.
So you're saying you really like the Joker character.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when they're doing the interviews, when they interview Joker, he says something like, I wanted to be the first one on my block to
with
go
a
to
confirmed kill.
With a confirmed kill.
Yeah.
But again, I had a hard time like buying into like he's not.
Well, every single one of those guys was fabricating, right? All those stories, they were all boasting up.
Yeah.
So is that him being funny, or is that him like boasting up, like, yeah, I want to be the first one on my block?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know how to read that.
Yeah, I think it's like, were Marines drafted or did they enlist? I think that's the question.
Right. I guess we really don't know.
Cowboy definitely enlisted. The guy in the plane shooting people.
Drafted.
He enlisted.
Enlisted.
Well, and you brought up a scene where the camera guy was following along. Was it the same scene or another one where they were panning across the team that Joker had joined, all those guys, and they like...
Or like
they were like telling a
stuff,
story almost, and they just went. It was
It's the Vietnam
such a clever,
War
yeah,
movie,
that was such a clever little snippet, and like obviously it was staged because it's a movie, but to have like them just like continuing down the line and riffing off each other, it was really funny.
Yeah, it's right before this other scene too, where it's like two of them die, and like the two bodies are laying there, and it's kind of going around. They're all kind of saying like they're
when they get hit by the
like,
mines or whatever.
Yeah, and one guy's like Semper Fi and says like you're going home now. Then it starts
Better
going,
you not me.
Better you not me, Animal Mother. Then Rafter Man says, well, at least they died for a good cause. And Animal Mother's like, what was that? And he's like, well, they died for freedom. Animal Mother's like, well, if I'm gonna die for a word, that word's gonna be Poon.
That guy was nuts.
Yeah, some of this made me think of. Has anybody read Johnny Get Your Gun?
Oh yeah.
Like made me think about like that as well. Like the very like that's also broken up into parts.
It's two parts. Isn't it? Yeah.
And at the very end of part one, he talks about like there's nothing worth dying for, because when you're dead, you're dead. You're lower than a rat. You're lower than shit. It doesn't matter because you're dead. And I felt like there were like some of those ideas of like, if I'm gonna die for anything, it sure shit ain't freedom.
Well, Joker says a line. It was the scene that you were just talking about the peace pin and the Born to Kill, and he's like says something to the what was it? There's only one thing that the dead know, that it's better to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that was just him narrating it.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. One thing I did want to make mention of, just outside of the movie per se, but the art, the like
like the Ho Chi Minh, like
I'm sorry, I was gonna say just the actual like movie like poster, like the
with the helmet.
Yeah, with the helmet is so iconic to me.
Born to Kill.
Yeah, the Born to Kill. And is it on a rifle? I think that's like in the ground, right? But yeah, every time I see that, like it's just, to me, it's just a really cool looking image. I think it's very powerful.
So you had brought up war movies, so do you want to get it? Do you want to talk about war movies in general, or?
Yeah, I mean, just what do I like, or what about war movies, Chad?
Where would you rate this in like war movies, and what would be a couple of your like favorite?
God, it's so different because, like I said, this one feels like the anti-recruitment movie that the other ones are not. So it
doesn't romanticize as much,
right? And I think maybe I'm, more of a sucker for mine is Saving Private Ryan. That's my answer. And maybe it's the opening scene. I don't know, but I do like the Band of Brothers aspect with Tom Hanks and Sizemore and all the other guys in his unit. I really like that. But yeah, I think it's probably the realism of the D-Day scene just is hard to beat for me.
Yeah, that is a pretty powerful scene. Did you have?
Well, yeah, I was gonna just jump in because I don't. I've said it a few times. I don't like war movies. I'm a bleeding heart hippie pacifist. But if they're really good, they're worth watching. So I think, honestly, Dunkirk might be my favorite war movie.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one's really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say this is pretty high up there. I really like Platoon as well. I thought Dunkirk was visually incredible. I really enjoyed Dunkirk. I don't know, like this is, like Last Samurai. I don't know why, but I've always really appreciated that one. And I don't know if you'd call that a war one or not. But
are you sneaky Scientologist?
No. I'm not.
All right. Okay.
I could see that.
You think so?
Wait. I thought you were gonna say
sneaky Scientologist.
Sneaky
piece.
No, I enjoyed The Last Samurai too. I thought that was a good film.
Yeah.
Minus the midget Tom Cruise.
Midget Tom Cruise. What?
Oh, he's like
5'6".
He's not tall, but he's
Yeah.
not. He's short, but he's not that short. But I think he's really sensitive about his height. So I'm hoping he hears this and hopefully
that's
I don't
why
get
he jumped on
abducted.
the couch.
Yeah, that's why to show off his height.
He actually wears platform shoes.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
That doesn't surprise me though.
That's his whole life is compensating for how he thinks he's short. That's why he does all his own stunts. So I gotta prove I'm cool.
And then the Phaetons will come and
Yeah.
bring me the Xantron to.
So our souls will be ejected to the volcano when the aliens come.
Next week on Movie Time Machine, we'll be looking at Going Clear.
We'll share all of our thetan levels.
Is that like a strengths finder?
All right, so you said Platoon and
Yeah, Platoon.
Last Samurai. I guess though
Would you call that a war movie?
I haven't seen it.
You've never seen it?
No.
I'd say so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Are you gonna like do some bullshit like Braveheart, or are you gonna?
The Patriot.
Braveheart.
The Patriot.
Oh my God! Do you remember in the Patriot? Do you remember when? No, seriously, the cannon. It's a terrible movie, but there's one scene where a cannon goes off, and you see like the cannonball
Take
going.
someone's leg
Yeah,
out.
no, it takes the entire head.
Oh,
Like it decapitates the dude, and it is brutal and vulgar. It was.
Didn't Gibson direct that?
That was him. He had probably just seen the Last Mohican. Wasn't that was that the name of the movie? The Last Mohican.
The Last of the Mohicans.
The Last of the Mohicans. He probably watched that and was like, I want to make that myself. Because didn't he like hatchet fight a whole gang of soldiers?
Sure did.
In almost the same exact
Sure did.
manner that happens in The Last of the Mohicans. Yeah.
Are you gonna
I
say
love that
something
movie.
like?
That's
Which one?
Last Mohican.
Oh yeah, it's a great film. Gibson watched it and was like, I want to make my own with Americans.
But then he made the Apocalypto one.
Oh, I actually kind of liked
I didn't see
Apocalypto.
that.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
That is like,
It's pretty cool.
I don't think it's historically accurate.
No.
But it's like, that I would say is close to a horror movie. That part where like they're all in line, they're going up to get their heads chopped off.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about war movies.
It's like Home
I
Alone
would
with
say
white people.
Paths of Glory, which I just recently watched, is a Kubrick film, is a movie that I think everyone should see. It's kind of probably not as good as Full Metal Jacket, but along the same lines of that. It's not a patriot film. It's not a recruitment film. It's probably an anti-recruitment film, but it takes place in World War I around the French army.
Who is in Glory?
Matthew
Denzel.
Broderick. It was Broderick. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Wrong movie.
No, absolutely.
Civil War.
I was like,
Oh, I used to really love the Civil War series, North and South, from the 80s, starring Patrick Swayze.
oh, Ghost Man himself.
Yeah.
You play the North and the South.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually a one-man play.
One man musical.
Yeah. And he just had a cape that had both blue and red on that he would just flip around.
Right. Or he's just in the middle like Two-Face.
American flag, Confederate
Oh yeah,
flag.
and so it's based on what? No, it's based on what profile he's showing.
Yeah, exactly. Confederate on one
Let's
side.
like that.
Oh no! Fuck! They're gonna steal it like your other idea.
Community play. So Paths of Glory, Dunkirk, and Platoon are probably my favorites.
Mars Attacks.
Mars
Probably
Attacks,
the best war movie.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
There is a
great war movie.
Only if you count the third one with the big
Day That
battle at
Stood
the
Still.
end. There's a war there.
War of the Worlds.
Marriage Story.
I like War of the Worlds because all the worlds are at war.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's the biggest war.
It's the sequel to the World War.
Yeah.
I feel like we gotta stop doing two.
I do not like Saving Private Ryan though.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater. Because that came out in '98. I remember walking out of that, and I was just like, I did not like this. I thought like the scenes were cool, like with like the how realistic they made like especially like the storm in the beaches of Normandy, which kind of like wow. I think it was probably one of the first movies that made that look as graphic and real as it probably actually was.
Yeah.
But
Is that Spielberg?
Yeah.
But man, it is like I had to just watch a couple scenes to like just make sure that this feeling still holds. But I was like, man, this
heavy.
movie is some bullshit. Just
Dude,
like the
What'd you say? It's
just
Food
like
Bar?
just like the fucking like the beginning where they're like following like their grandfather, and just like stops and looks at the flag. I'm just like, man, this is all bullshit. It just kind of trivializes a little bit, like, or like the whole thing of like we got to go save this one person because he's like the last son left, right, of this family, so they got to bring him back home. Or like his brother died, right? He's the only one left, right?
Brothers.
Brothers.
I don't know. I just such like bullshit, like patriotic.
Does that even
shit,
exist?
like-
Is that a real thing where they'll go try to pull the last brother out?
That's
I don't know.
Maybe back then, if it was something about like being able to like carry on a namesake.
And if you're
I don't-
white,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's also.
it's a big one.
Yeah, I don't know.
But-
I've never like war movies. I'm not a big history guy, so like war movies have never really done
Same.
it for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't find myself
I'm more-
compelled to see them.
yeah.
But again, like when they're done well, like again, Full Metal Jacket is done so well. Platoon is so good. Like almost, I think all of us had Platoon on ours.
Stripes.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Stripe.
I do love Stripes. Though.
Stripe
I
is like
fucking
the
love Stripes.
the anti-matter of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, basically.
It's like the whatever. But
But I think
The Black
in
Matter.
order to be considered a war film, you have to have a scene where you're buzzing the heads, buzzing the hair off, bzzz, with like a clipper.
right. Stripes, right? They have
Yeah, they have it in Stripes.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'd like to revise my favorite Moore movie, Pearl Harbor with Ben Affleck.
Oh my god. I will say though, Chad, you were talking about saccharine American patriotism.
Yeah.
I recognize that's there, but you know what film totally pulls that out of me, and I don't care. I'm all along for the ride.
Remember the Titans.
Miracle.
Close, close.
Gotta go sports.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mighty Ducks 2.
Yeah.
All right. So, out of
So-
curiosity, what
yeah.
would you rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 5?
I actually was going back and forth on this between like 4.5 or 5. I don't know.
This
I would
is
probably say 4.5.
this is a 4.5 for me.
Damn it, I was going to say 4.5. Sounds like I'm copying. But yeah, 4.5. There's one little thing that I can't put my finger on that doesn't make it a 5 for me, but it's great.
So this movie made me like uncomfortable in all the wrong ways, like overt racism, violence, gore. So that makes me want to give it a 4.5 because it made me feel bad. But I think that's the purpose for it, and it's again anti-recruitment film. Like this is some fucked up shit. Humans killing humans is. So I think I got to give it a 5
All right.
for the emotional impact it still carries, and I think the weight that.
Casey is scarred from watching from multiple viewings of this movie.
It's rough.
I do have one more question. This is the
False.
last. No, it's not
42.
true or false. So
42, yes, the
this
answer is
is
42.
This is the last movie in our director series for Kubrick. I want to ask, what is your ranking from favorite to least favorite?
Of Kubrick
all-
movies?
Of the four that we watched. Yep, not all, but of the four that
How
we
about,
watched.
should we go? How do you want to do
Let's
this?
rate all four. Put them in order. Of
Yeah. Put them in,
before we
like
watched.
the first one that you say is the one that you like the most on down. And
Should we, each person do all four, or should we just go around for each one?
I think
Yeah.
No, I think each person does all four
Yeah,
in one. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And just to call it out, the 4 were Full Metal Jacket, The Shining, Dr. Strangelove, and 2001.
Space Odyssey.
Yep.
Do you want to go first?
I'd love to.
Okay.
I mean, like
start from 4 and work our way to the top.
Oh boy, I wanted to go the opposite way.
Well, then there's more suspense.
Okay, maybe I needed to write this down. Okay, so
whatever. Do it. Whatever
okay,
you
so
want.
least favorite to favorite. Okay, least favorite to favorite. So 2001: A Space Odyssey is my least favorite. Then Doctor Strangelove, and then The Shining, and then Full Metal Jacket is my favorite.
So Full Metal Jacket,
Shining,
2001.
No,
Dr. Strangelove, 2001.
Did you notice how the way that you just did that, what made more sense to you was going top to bottom? When I'm just saying, it's easier that way.
What a dick.
No, it is. I had to like flip my entire, I don't know. It was, all right. But yeah, so I did not like 2001 that much. I thought that movie should be 20 minutes less in runtime. There's some amazing visual shots, but that movie was just, meh. Full Metal Jacket is hands down my favorite.
All right.
So starting at 4.
Yeah.
This one's tough. I think it's a close tie between 3 and 4, between Doctor Strangelove and The Shining. And that's not an indictment on either, because I think it's, if anything, it's to show that the longer I've sat on it, the more I've appreciated Doctor Strangelove, because obviously The Shining is The Shining, and it's great. Mm-hmm. So then 2 would be Full Metal Jacket, and my favorite was 2001, which is strange to say that, because I think after my initial viewing of it, I wouldn't have said that, but the way that I still think about it, like, on occasion. And when a movie like makes me think back to it and go, right, oh, remember that detail, or oh, remember how I felt watching that, I think it gets me. And I'm just a sucker for space.
Casey likes space.
Yeah. Spacey Casey.
Freaking love space movies, man.
No Good arguments ones. Here.
That's why he really loved Power Rangers.
Duh.
Go Power Rangers.
Ivan Ooze.
There it is. Dude, love Ivan Ooze.
Oh. Okay, I think my order is, I wish 2001 was higher, but I'd be lying to myself if it's number 4. And then it's weird because they're 2 completely different movies, Strangelove and Full Metal Jacket. I think I like Strangelove more, but Full Metal Jacket is the better movie.
Sure.
So I'm going to go Strangelove 3, Full Metal Jacket 2, and then The Shining just tops everything for me.
I'd say the same thing about why I rated Full Metal Jacket more. It's a better movie. I would rewatch Doctor Strangelove again because it's lighter. Obviously, they're both war movies, but it's lighter, and I like that kind of thing more. But you're right. I think Full Metal Jacket is just a better film.
Agreed.
It's more of a masterpiece, right?
Agreed.
Compared to The Shining?
To
Dr.
Strangelove. Gotcha. Up there. So I would start with, at the bottom, Dr. Strangelove, then 2001, then I think actually Full Metal Jacket, and then The Shining. And I think with why I'm putting The Shining as number 1 is that I feel like that movie rewards you the most with like each rewatch, as far as like finding new things in it. Mm-hmm. Especially if you want to like go down like the crazy theories route, and that's always kind of fun to play with. But I think I watched this probably like 2.5 times to prepare for this. And just kind of broken up amongst like bus rides and stuff, but it was just kind of fun to like catching like all like the different cans and like the food storage, the Calumet can, and like the red. It's just like we didn't even talk about this, but it's the whole like the reds, the greens, just
yeah.
I mean,
whatever the fuck Wendy's wearing throughout all the movie,
right? But
and that movie has had a bigger effect on pop culture overall too. So
right.
It almost deserves that too.
Yeah. Also, if you're interested in playing along at home, look for our tweet that we're going to send out about this, where you get to give us your list,
Twitter poll,
lowest to top, and share with us what your list is and your reason giving your lowest movie, like the explanation for the lowest movie and your explanation for the highest movie.
All right. Thank you, Chris. So what about Kubrick films that you have seen outside of the ones that we covered? How would they fit into this ranking? So like
I think Clockwork Orange would be high,
up there.
high for me. I really thought like I'd never seen a movie like that before when I first saw it. In the dialect, in like the language, again, it's so. I don't know if you've ever tried to read that book.
It's so good.
Or have. It's a difficult read. It's hard. It's
is.
really difficult. But I thought that was really, really unique. It's that movie though. Like Casey, you were talking a little bit about the idea of like rewatchable. That movie is far less rewatchable for me, even though I think it's a much more interesting, good movie. Like that for me is a difficult movie to watch.
Yeah, I won't watch
Clockwork
that one
Orange?
again.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it twice.
Kubrick had that. Kubrick worked on was a part of having that film banned in the UK.
Was he really?
Yeah, because he thought
I went too far.
He thought he went too far in making that film.
Well, I mean, it's
wow.
It's difficult.
So there because some of the commentary on Full Metal Jacket was like he was very aware and conscious of like how graphic he was going to make scenes in Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah,
because of saying that he did go too far.
Wow.
Yeah, but like I feel like there are a ton of movies that are like that, right?
Yeah.
That are really amazing movies that like. I don't know. I think of like
they
Train Spotting.
Right,
I think
really
of like
great, but
I will never
need to see that again.
That's like that is an emotional roller coaster.
Maybe once a decade.
Bully by Larry Clark is like that for me.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah, Kids, and even I'm trying to think. What is the red dress one? Requiem for a Dream.
Oh yeah.
Like that is not one that I like. It's incredible. It's really well done. But I can't watch that. Like,
no.
American History X. I've only seen that once.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good movie.
It's good. Right? Yeah, no, it's so good.
But when you're like, oh my god, that's so good, but I can't watch it again. Like that.
You ever watch Romper Stomper?
Uh-uh.
That's Russell Crowe, isn't it?
I don't know. I've not seen it.
Yeah, I think it is Russell Crowe. After I crushed Russell Crowe on our Gladiator podcast.
Yeah. Oh, I love Russell. Actually, I don't. I think he's just fine, but I do love Gladiator.
The further I get from that movie, the more I realize I don't really like that movie.
You don't
really?
like it?
Yeah.
Oof. That's fine. I mean, but you also like Mad Max Fury Road, so I can't take really what you'll say that serious.
Well, that's actually I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I think watching these 4 movies from Kubrick, it's kind of made me identify what I actually like about films.
Yeah.
It's because you always talk about like you like when there's like great dialogue and like people have like great lines back and forth and people
it's
jumping on lines.
It's snappy too. Like that's why Sorkin's my favorite writer. Like that is a lot of like how Sorkin writes, and I think like some of that too. Like I really like Shane Black. Like the way Shane Black writes as well is very like quips, like very smart and.
Where I'm more into like a film where it has like I'm into like sound design of a film is really important to me, and just like visually how everything is thrown together. But if it doesn't have that a good story, all that other stuff will fall apart. But like those are the things I notice first, and that's kind of what I've noticed as like a theme throughout these 4 movies. Maybe not as much with like Dr. Strangelove and with that film, because that's the satire in that doesn't really mix, but just with like 2001 especially, and The Shining, and but
Any other last final comments, thoughts?
No.
So what about like your feelings on Kubrick going into these movies and feelings coming out after watching them? Like any like, has anything changed or like
I think
kind of stayed the same? Or?
I think I had made note of like I hadn't seen much of Kubrick outside of Full Metal Jacket and Clockwork Orange, which is one of the reasons why I was so excited to choose, or that somebody chose him, and they were going to have the opportunity to look more, because I know that he's considered to be like a really incredibly gifted director. So to me, I was really excited, and I knew that I really enjoyed those 2 movies and thought they were really good. Watching these others, I have a much greater appreciation for, again, I think we talked like his attention to detail, his visual pieces. I don't think like I can say that he is like a favorite director of mine in the sense of I didn't like his movies as much as I thought I was going to, or that I hoped that I was going to, in regards to like rewatchability. But I do think that he is somebody who has full command of his craft, and I think he is probably one of the top directors when it comes to, again, just like the visual piece.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I went into this kind of revering him as a, top tier, one of the best that's ever been, and was glad to see a few movies I hadn't, well, I guess the only one I hadn't seen completely was 2001 when we went into this, so I was glad to have seen it because it was on my list, but I'll, go out of it, add to my list. So I mean, I don't think I'm going out of it with much of a difference in opinion, other than I'm glad to have seen 2001.
Yeah, I picked Kubrick, and I think it's because I have seen a big number of his films, with the exception of Eyes Wide Shut, and there's a couple, but
right.
I love most of his movies for different reasons, and I think that's why, maybe because they are so different, he doesn't stick to a genre, which I really appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool to be able to navigate through that.
Right.
And seamlessly, like.
Right. And they all work in their own way. And he's one, too, where I have a handful where there's this director, whatever movie they make, I'm in. So it's like Stanley Kubrick, the Coen brothers. It's like, yeah, I'm in. I'll watch whatever they make. And actually, David Fincher. I'm glad we're doing him. Yeah, he's one of those guys for me, too. Yeah,
again, for me, like, I hadn't really seen a Kubrick film in a long time before we hopped into this, so I was like, was I in like a phase, of, like, especially like when it came to 2001, I was like, oh, where am I at now with watching these movies? But I kind of respect him more. I just am seeing bits, and I guess it's kind of like taking, like, oh, this is actually what I like about film, and I'm connecting it together with, especially like 2001 and The Shining, and it makes me want to go back now and watch Eyes Wide Shut. Even like, I just want to go back and watch like the rest of his catalog now, which isn't very big. He didn't do a lot of movies. He had a lot of time in between each of his films. So I'm when I have time, I'm gonna go back, and I think I'm gonna watch Eyes Wide Shut next. So, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, so probably more revered than was before, but I also held him as very high and respectable as like a director, even though I don't is not watching movies as much. I couldn't name too many directors outside of Kubrick, outside your big ones like George Lucas, Spielberg, but
always start with Lucas.
But is that a wrap?
That's a wrap. You got a lot of editing to do.
Good luck.
All right, thank you for listening to another episode of Movie Time Machine. Join us next week when we're going to dive into some David Fincher, and Jamie and I are going to try to close out John Carpenter, Maybe Do They Live, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I watched it.
Then also going to keep you notes, Jamie and I, when we do our mini pods, we're going to start doing Jamie's Horror Corner. We're probably going to visit some horror
corner or horror.
It was a horror film.
You'll just have to tune in and find out.
No, you never know. But thank you for listening. Just let you know just let you know episodes will drop every Friday on your favorite podcasting platforms. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. You can also find us on Twitter at Movie Machine Pod, moviemachinepod.com, and
get involved with our tweet later on, so you can let us know what your list is of your favorite, your top four, or your four list of movies
that we cover.
You say that better.
I'm
giving you ideas, and you say it better.
Hey, you jumped in. I was just gonna hand you the baton. So, but hey, great job trying, right?
You can't win them all.
All right, thank you for listening. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.